Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobi Wine ali ku TV za nsi yonna gwe boogerako gwe baliko emboozi zonna zoogera ku ye bamutendereza obuvumu bw'alina era nga bonna bakkiriza kimu basa kimu nga nkuyege nti ku luno ku mulundi guno General Museveni yeekaabire akayi kaweddemu dda ye last term ye nti Kyagulanyi asimye omusingi Kyagulanyi ensi emukkiriza Kyagulanyi obubonero bwonna bweyolese kaate nti agenda kuba president wa Uganda owe 10-26-2-3 kale katandike tuti.
And Uganda is heading for a runoff election between Bobi Wine and President Yoweri Museveni. Pop star turned politician Bobi Wine has been cleared to run for president, setting up a rematch against Africa's longest-serving leader, Yoweri Museveni. Uganda's Electoral Commission has cleared Bobi Wine to contest January's presidential election. 43-year-old opposition leader is popularly called the ghetto president. He will take on 81-year-old President Museveni, who has ruled Uganda since 1986 and is now taking a record 7th term. In 2021, Bobi Wine won 35% of the vote against Museveni, who got 58%. That was the closest someone has got to challenge Museveni's long-standing rule. Wine rejected the result, alleging ballot stuffing and fraud. The dispute triggered deadly protests that killed 54 people. Wine's party currently holds the largest number of opposition seats in parliament. He has accused Museveni of ruling by force for 4 decades, looting the nation and using state institutions as weapons against his people.
Change of leadership has been written in blood, the blood and sacrifice of the common people of Uganda, the citizens of Uganda, and yet the leaders who always promised liberation have always delivered oppression. For 40 long years, one man and a small group of his relatives and friends have ruled our country on gunpoint. They have looted our nation and turned every institution of government into a tool of oppression.
But the political rhetoric from the ruling side is more intense. Earlier this year, Museveni's son and the country's military chief threatened to behead Wine. With elections slated to take place in January 2026, the next few months will be crucial for the East African nation.
Oyo Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobi Wine emikutu gy'ensi yonna gy'asanyaladde dda gyogera ku ye omwana attu wano nkututte Bufalansa.
And firebrand opposition leader Bobi Wine is amongst them. Wine is one of incumbent long-time leader Yoweri Museveni's fiercest critics and was this week cleared to stand against Museveni for a second time. Now, he'd first tried in 2021 and hundreds of Wine supporters took to the streets in excitement at the idea of him going up against Museveni, who's been running the country since 1986 and will also be seeking another term next year. Our East Africa correspondent has more.
Tense atmosphere in Kampala after clashes erupted between police and protesters in the Ugandan capital, but also in other cities across the country. At the heart of the unrest is Bobi Wine, the opposition leader, musician turned politician and head of the National Unity Platform. He shared footage of the scenes on social media, while his party reported that about a dozen activists were arrested. All deaths came during rallies meant to celebrate the Ugandan Electoral Commission's decision to validate his candidacy in next January's vote. In Kampala's Natete neighborhood, Wine addressed a crowd of hundreds, maybe even thousands. Mostly young Ugandans gathered, despite authorities called to avoid political gatherings, officially for security reasons. In his speech, Bobi Wine urged Ugandans to stand up, as he put it, against dictator Museveni.
For 40 long years, one man and a small group of his relatives and friends have ruled our country on gunpoint. They have looted our nation and turned every institution of government into a tool of oppression.
The Ugandan president, who's ruled the country for nearly 4 decades, also saw his candidacy approved, hardly a surprise. But with the election just 4 months away, critics accuse him of tightening his grip on power through growing authoritarianism and political repression. Bobi Wine himself has been arrested or placed under house arrest multiple times in recent years.
Oyo gwaita Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobi Wine ajja bazinyisa oluguje ne nga bwogezako notunira General Museveni boy maani akooye mukoowu byonna byakola bya bukoowu naye alemeddeko agamba nkyetaaga mulabe yenna mukoowu namagutega kyatambula kabagasibako empagi yenna mulabe atunula bukoowu bwereere yeetaaga kuba jjajja nga bamuwalulira kaliba n'atuula wali ebbali naye alemeddeko agamba akyayagala Ntebe tugenda nokuwalula ku mpaka tufulumye wano jjajja tugenda kufulumya jjajja tumufulumye wano nga tategedde mu ngeri ya labadaba style kalale kankuwe bano nabo bali ku Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert ono mwana bannange.
Another 81-year-old president has launched his re-election bid. Now that's Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni, who has been in power for 4 decades. His candidacy has been cleared for the 2026 elections. And the same goes for his top rival, Bobi Wine. The 43-year-old pop star turned politician is set to challenge President Museveni again. The two rivals last faced off in the 2021 election. Now, after his candidacy was cleared, Wine gave a speech in which he accused Museveni and his allies of ruling Uganda at gunpoint.
For 40 long years, one man and a small group of his relatives and friends have ruled our country on gunpoint. They have looted our nation and turned every institution of government into a tool of oppression.
In his speech, Wine also talked about the 2021 election in which Wine accused Museveni of ballot stuffing and fraud. At least 54 people were killed while protesting against the outcome, and later Wine was placed under house arrest.
This is not the first time that we stand before you with a dream of a new Uganda. We first made our attempt 5 years ago in 2021. Hundreds of our brothers and sisters were tortured. Many of them were arrested and they are still in prison as we speak right now. Many were killed and many are missing to the present day. And yet, we refuse to give up.
After being cleared to run for the presidency, Wine greeted hundreds of his supporters who took to the streets in Kampala to celebrate. They were carrying Wine's portrait. The rally also saw Wine's supporters clashing with police. The demonstrators defied the Electoral Commission's advice to avoid political gatherings because of security concerns. Police used batons as some of them tried to break through a cordon. Now, reportedly, a dozen people were arrested, including a youth leader from Wine's National Unity Platform party. Museveni's top rival, Wine, has been arrested numerous times. Wine's party has accused Museveni's government of continuous kidnapping, illegal detention and torture of its supporters. Museveni's son and military head, Kainerugaba, even threatened to behead Wine in January. The president's son also admitted to confining a missing official from Wine's party in his basement. Another top rival of President Museveni, Kizza Besigye, remains in jail in Kampala as he faces a possible death sentence in a treason trial. Now, he has denied any wrongdoing. Last year in November, Besigye was abducted from Kenya and brought to Uganda. He has challenged Museveni in 4 elections without success. Now, President Museveni has been ruling Uganda since 1986. And now he is seeking a record 7th term. A constitutional amendment in 2017 removed the presidential age limit of 75, allowing Museveni to extend his rule. The 81-year-old president has urged his supporters to back his vision for Uganda's future.
So this is a double mission in the coming Kisanja. Continue empowering the middle class, the investors, whether local or from outside, but make sure that the masses are all involved.
Ugandans are set to choose their next president in January next year, and the race is heating up. On one side of the contest is longtime President Museveni, and on the other is his much younger rival Bobi Wine. Now it remains to be seen if Wine will be able to dethrone Museveni in the upcoming elections, or will the Ugandan president seemingly stay in power forever?
Kale, oyo gwe bayita Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobi Wine akoze byonna ebirina okukolebwa okuggyako nakyemalira General Kaguta Museveni era nga very soon tugenda kulaba ku nkyukakyuka. Tuyinza kungamba nti obadde mu buyinza for over 40 years, the decades in year, 4 decades, miaka 10, miaka 4. Nongamba nti you still need more 5 years to protect your gains. Buli muntu si musanyufu n'ebyo era buli muntu agamba ano Museveni wakoma.
I've just seen a video of President Museveni, 80 plus or something, begging his people, the Ugandan people, to vote for him one last time. This is a man that has ruled Uganda for 40 plus years, but he needs 5 more years to finish some projects. I'm sorry, what? In 4 decades, you didn't finish? This man has literally buried generations under his regime, but yet he needs 1 more term. You see, this is what happens when power becomes an addiction. When leaders stop seeing themselves as servants, but they start to see themselves as saviors. You know, this is not just about Uganda. This is an issue across the continent. I'm the only one who can do it. I need more time. There's no one ready to take over. No, African leaders, the people are there. You're just refusing to let go. True leadership knows when to exit the stage. Africa doesn't need more leaders. Africa doesn't need more rulers. Africa needs legacy builders. People who know when it's time to pass on the baton. I've just seen a video of President...
True that. Africa, we need legacy builders, not rulers, not leaders, not dictators, but legacy builders. Someone to come in power for 5 years, 4 years, 2 years, 10 years, and leaves a legacy where we can all will be remembering him or her of his deeds. That when we had the Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobi Wine for 10 years, Uganda changed from 0 to first world country. That's a legacy. But these dictators, for them, they want to, because they are fearful, they are just protecting their life, they are just enriching their families, but not putting a legacy for the country, for citizens, but only for themselves and their family. That's what we are against. And that's why we are saying we need a new leader. We need the 10th president, and that is Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobi Wine. Nobody else. Jinja tujja lunaku lwankya.